Good morning, students. In our previous video, in our last video, we discussed about the poem, the third poem, that is the Temple and the Body. It was in the form of Vachana by Basavanna. And today we see the exercises, the question answers of the poem. Let us see the lines of the poem first. The rich will make temples for Shiva. What shall I, a poor man, do? Second stanza. My legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. Stanza number 3. Listen, O Lord of the meeting rivers, things standing shall fall, but the moving ever shall stay. The poem is only in 3 stanzas, but the message conveyed through this small poem is a lot. So, in the last period, we came to know about the summary of this poem, and today we discussed about the question answers. Let us see what the first question is. Question number 1. The lines, the rich will make a temple for Shiva, implies that. See the line again. The line, the rich will make a temple for Shiva, implies that. Here we get 4 options. They want to please the Lord. They can afford to build temples. They believe that this is how they can serve God. Option D, they believe that the temple is the only place to feel the presence of God. And among these 4 options, the right option is they believe that this is how they can serve the God. See the second question. Question number 2. Which of the following statements are true? Option A. The speaker is against building any structures for worshipping God. B. It is not possible for the speaker to build a temple. C. It's only an excuse given by the speaker for not being able to build a temple. D. The speaker believes that God is present within ourselves and not in any temple. Among these 4 options, the right answer is the speaker believes that God is present within ourselves and not in any temple. See the third question. What are the feelings of the speaker suggested in the question, what shall I, a poor man, do? Options for this question are A. Helplessness, B. Doubt, C. Humility, D. Anger, E. Pride, F. Anguish. Here the right answer for this suggested line, what shall I, a poor man, do? This sentence, this line shows us that the correct answer for this question is helplessness. See the next question, that is question number 4. The word listen in the stanza, in the last stanza is listen, O Lord, is used in the third stanza. Listen, O Lord, the meeting of rivers. So, what it is? Is it an order? Is it an appeal? Is it a request? Or is it an advice? The correct answer is an advice. Poet is advising us, advising God that listen, the Lord of the meeting rivers, things standing shall fall, but moving ever shall stay. Here the correct answer is an advice. Now the next question, fifth one. See the question number 5. The expression things standing suggests what do we understand by the expression things standing? Option A, any man-made temple, any man-made temple, or anybody who is standing, anything which is static, or D, the human body. Here the answer is anything which is static. This things standing suggests us the meaning that anything which is static. Now see the next question. Question number 6. There are 2 examples of paradox in the last 2 lines. Let us see first what is a paradox. Here the meaning is also given. A paradox is a statement containing opposite ideas. See the definition of this paradox again. A paradox is a statement containing opposite ideas. Related to this question, see there are 2 examples of paradox in the last 2 lines. What opposite ideas are suggested in things standing shall fall? See the question, here itself we can find the answer. Standing and fall. Standing and fall. So this statement is called paradox statement. So let us see the answer. What opposite ideas are suggested in things standing shall fall? See the answer. Things standing shall fall can be interpreted in various ways. This can be interpreted in various ways. The poet laments. Laments means feeling sad because of his inability. See, the poet laments his inability to build temples, so he was helpless, he was a poor man. Hence, the phrase can refer to temples which are subject to nature's fury and destruction over a period of time. Here the poet says us that, he explained in the second stanza that, in the third stanza that, the things, man-made things, constructed buildings may be demolished, may be destructed by the fury of nature, and they may be affected by destructions. So, it can also refer to pride and arrogance, which can make a person stand erect in front of God when he should be bowing before Him. So, it may also mean that static objects that are moved by piety and devotion are subject to destruction and decay. While the heart of the poet, he says, every human being, one who worships God within him, while the heart that is filled with devotion is blessed and becomes immortal. If we create a temple in our own heart, that would be always blessed and becomes immortal. See the next question related to the same statement. B. What opposite ideas are suggested in the moving shall ever stay? See, the second line is moving shall ever stay. Here the paradox sentence is moving and stay. Stay means stopped. Moving means which is running. See the answer. The moving shall ever stay. This phrase too can be interpreted in many ways as the earlier one, before one. The moving, that is the human heart which is moving temple. Human heart is considered to be a moving temple, cannot be destroyed by nature's fury, unlike a temple that can be damaged easily by nature. If the rich people construct the temple buildings, they can be destroyed by the nature's fury like earthquake or any other calamity. See, a moving temple, that is a human heart or human soul, that cannot be destroyed by nature's fury, unlike a temple that can be damaged easily by the nature. The moving can also refer to humble beings. Humble being means what? Human beings. The moving can also refer to humble human beings who are swayed by devotion and move according to God's will, unlike the static. Static means it won't move. But human beings do every action when His grace is there. When God graces us, when God directs us, we can move. So here the poet says, devotion and move according to God's will, unlike the static that stand erect against God's wishes and get destroyed. If the God wishes, then only it gets destroyed. See the next question. These two phrases repeat the message of the line from the Bible. See, there is a sentence taken from the holy epic of Christianity, that is the Bible. Be not like the mighty oak, which can be filled with a single stroke. Be like the humble reed, which bends with the wind and stays. See here, we can have the habit of bending and again staying back. See, what is the question referred to this? What final message, see the seventh one, what final message do the last two lines convey? The last two lines are, can anybody say? Last two lines are, things standing shall fall and moving shall ever stay. See, the poet is consoling himself. Consoling means he feels himself sad and he is feeling himself helplessness that he was unable to build a temple for God to worship. The poet is consoling himself that the temple which he would never be able to construct, his economical condition was not so good to construct the temples, would any day be destroyed. If he constructs a temple, it can be destroyed any day. Whereas the moving temple, here the human body, whereas the moving temple that he carries in his heart would be immortal. Immortal means what? Which says forever and intact. The lines can also mean that the one who stands in front of God without bowing down to Him will surely fall. If you think yourself strong, if you do not worship God, definitely you will fall or be destroyed. Whereas the moving, the one who bows down in front of Him and acts according to his wish, would stay ever. The poet finds consolation in his modest circumstances and his devotion to God. See the lines of this answer again. The poet is consoling himself that the temple which he would never be able to construct would any day be destroyed, whereas the moving temple that he carries in his heart would be immortal and intact. The lines can also mean that the one who stands in front of God without bowing down to Him will surely fall or be destroyed, whereas the one who bows down in front of Him and acts according to his wish would stay ever. The poet finds consolation in his modest circumstances and his devotion to God. See the next question. The second main is close study. Read the following extracts carefully, discuss in pairs, and then write the answers to the questions given below it. See the statement or the lines given here. Extract is, my legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. These are the given extracts, and the questions related to this are, let us see them. Question number 1. How is the human body compared to a temple? In this poem especially, the poet compares his own heart, his own body as a temple only. He says, my legs are pillars and my heart is a body, and the head is a cupola of gold. See here, answer is, the whole body is compared to a temple, with the legs being pillars. Legs are considered to be pillars. The body the shrine. The body is only the holy place where God to be worshipped, with the idol of God secure in the heart, and the head a cupola of God with the serene thoughts protecting the God in the heart. See next question related to this. What is the figure of speech used here? The statement was, see, human body compared to a temple. So with the legs being pillars, the body the shrine, and the head a cupola of gold. So here the figure of speech is used here, metaphor. What is the figure of speech? Metaphor. See the third question. Why is the speaker comparing the human body to a temple? The answer is very easy, as we discussed in the 2-mark carrying questions. See the answer. The speaker wanted to construct a temple, as we discussed, like the rich people do, and thereby please God, but he is very poor and cannot do so. Hence, he decides to treat his own body as a temple with the God secure in his heart. He also realizes that the temple built of brick and stone can be damaged by nature one day, whereas the moving temple in his heart can never be. Okay, this is the end of this video, and we will discuss the next poem in our next video. Thank you.